high above the City of the Sun, overlooking Glendale, Arizona. This is our special coverage of Super Bowl 57 as we look forward to the matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Hello everyone, I'm Roger Muchmore. Welcome to our special coverage of Super Bowl 57. We're here right across the street from State Farm Stadium. Now the Fox television network is going to be broadcasting the game, and they're going to be charging for each 30-second spot $7 million. That's because NBC had a contract with the NFL and CBS had a contract with the NFL. The confusion left his tape to his family after his death. For years, this Holy Grail recording was stored in an attic in Pennsylvania, forgotten, till a Sports Illustrated article came out. In 2005, Sports Illustrated did a story on the lost tapes of Super Bowl I and valued the tapes at $1 million. With the help of a childhood friend who read the Sports Illustrated article in 2005, Troy Hopp found the tapes in an attic in Pennsylvania, which was on an obsolete 2-inch broadcast reel. And today, it is the only known recording in existence of the Holy Grail Super Bowl I broadcast tapes. Troy offered to sell the tapes to the NFL, but they only offered them $30,000. And the tape has been in limbo ever since and never seen to the public. Now, we wanted to look more into these tapes from Super Bowl I that were found, and of course, we wanted to see how it was possibly recorded back then in 1967. So, with the help of our friend out in Santan, Arizona, we have Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Rick, what can you tell us about these recordings?
Roger, the only possibility here is either he had a friend that worked at a TV station or somebody that was on the inside that was able to record them on 2-inch tapes for him, or possible maybe he worked for the station. There's really no true answer to that question, but it's a possibility that somehow it was done either by somebody that worked there or somebody he knew, or maybe he worked for a television station in general. There's not very much information about that, Roger.
Now, he found these tapes up in his attic, the 2-inch reels, back in 2005. What would be the condition of these tapes?
Well, Roger, you've asked a very good question, because here at Obsolete Video Services, we do an awful lot of quad and 1-inch and all kinds of tapes. If they didn't bake the tapes properly, we have to bake them because these tapes go sticky. And when you try to play them in a machine, they start jumping around and the images get all messed up. In this case, from the samples online, I've noticed that. So maybe they weren't baked. But then again, you have to have a really good quad 2-inch machine to run these on. That's got to be spec'd for NTSC, so you get good color image. It's possible wherever he took them to have them done, they didn't do either one of these, and they just had a machine that was laying around and they copied it the best they could. And that's the only answer I have for the look of the tape from what I can tell that's online.
Now let's look at these 2-inch tapes.
Right.
A big portion of the third quarter was missing. He didn't record the halftime.
Right.
And of course, he paused the tapes so he could cut out a lot of the commercials.
Right.
What would be the purpose of him doing this? Because there's only 2-inch quadruplex tapes laying around?
No, the answer to that question is they only had one quad machine. He wouldn't be missing any of the game if he didn't have to switch tapes. So if he only had one quad machine, okay, most likely either he didn't have another tape laying around for the second part of the game, maybe it could be a number of factors there. Maybe he only had 2 tapes instead of 3. There's a missing part of the game. It's got to do with he didn't have a third tape. But if he did record the whole game and there is a third tape, there's still another one of these out there.
Now, the tapes he used to record the Super Bowl I, of course, were they used or new, in your opinion?
To answer your question on that, Roger, yeah, they most likely were used tapes. These tapes were $300 a piece back then. The stations would re-record over them. That's why a lot of TV program is missing, because they would record on these and reuse them the following day. So my opinion, he grabbed 2 used tapes that were laying in their on the floor or something to be recycled, and he recorded on them the game, whatever he could, Probably popped them in his trunk in his car, or maybe the person that did it for him maybe did that and delivered them to him. I really don't know. But that's the only way possible he could have recorded them on 2-inch quad tape. Either he worked there or he had a friend do it for him. But they were definitely used tapes. From the video I've been able to review online, the dropouts, the color shifts, it's either the machine playback issue being a very bad machine, or the tapes weren't baked and cleaned before they made the conversion of the tape.
Now, the price of these tapes back then were $300.
About $2,700 in today's money.
What would be the reason why CBS and NBC erased the tapes?
Well, like I said, back during the day, it's because the cost was so enormous, they would reuse them. Basically, give you a perfect example, WGN in Chicago. They would record the Bozo Show on one of these every day at noon. But they would erase it and record another Bozo Show the following day. And as everybody knows out there in Chicago, the Bozo shows, they have virtually nothing saved. This is the reason right here. They would record them on quad and then reuse the tape the following day. That's the reason for that.
Now, looking at the Sports Illustrated article back in 2005, they thought these tapes were worth $1 million. And looking at these tapes, the halftime is missing, the third quarter portion of it is missing, and of course a lot of the Super Bowl commercials are missing. When you look back at it and the quality of these tapes, do you think the value of these tapes are worth $1 million?
No, it's not worth $1 million. I would say it's a holy grail. I would price it between $20,000 and $30,000 tops. It's missing a tape, which is missing the third quarter, I think you said. It's missing part of the game. It's not complete. And if that was the best master that could be made, it's not even really that great of quality. So I would say between $20,000 and $30,000 due to the deterioration of the tape being, because these tapes deteriorate real bad. They go sticky, so you're gonna have problems doing recovery on them. So if that's the best quality and it was done on 2-inch quad tape and it was 2 of them, my assessment is $20,000 to $30,000.
Now, it's quite possible anybody out there could find Super Bowl 1 or 2, these missing broadcast tapes, and it could be in pristine condition. What would be the process of recovering these tapes?
All right, if you find a tape, if you find a 2-inch quad like this, a 1-inch, or any tape with the holy grail of television on it, like the NFL Game 1, do not play it. Do not take it somewhere so they could just show you what's on it, because you're risking the video heads shedding the tape, which will give the tape some serious dropouts and some very, very bad quality when it is recovered.
And thank you, Rick Thomas, for joining us and telling us a little bit about the mystery of the Super Bowl I tapes.
Thank you, Roger.
And of course, back here in Glendale, Arizona, the biggest audience ever in Super Bowl history, and of course in American viewing history, was the Super Bowl here right behind me back in 2015. The audience for that broadcast was 114 million viewers. And now we look forward to the big matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Could it be the biggest audience ever on television? Time will only tell. Well, from all of us here who helped put this program together for our Super Bowl experience here in Glendale, Arizona, we'd like to thank you for watching and take care.